Testing 1, 2. Could one of you say something?
Yeah.
There we go.
Yes.
Okay, welcome back to what the fuck is this show called? Shroom Guru. I guess this could be, the flip side, the special mini episode. And I just wanted to, since we had Chalice here, talk a little bit about, the Satanic Temple and, some recent light that was, sort of cast their way, via a YouTube channel by the name of Channel 5 with Andrew Callahan. And, Shalice, before we begin, I believe you had some statements to make before making some statements.
Anything I'm about to say are purely my opinion and my opinion alone, and do not represent the Satanic Temple or the rest of the committee of which I helped plan SatanCon with.
Yes, so, to be clear, I'm talking to Chalice Blythe, not the Satanic Temple. To be clear, let's delineate that. Okay. Chalice, how did that go? I hate to open up so generally, but there's quite a bit that happened, I'm assuming. Yeah, okay, how did SatanCon go? How was it? Was it nice?
Yeah, SatanCon was great. We put a lot of work into putting it on. It was our inaugural SatanCon, and it's officially an annual thing we'll be doing. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, SatanCon next year. That'd be great.
SatanCon next year, yeah. I'll book tickets.
Yep. So we're still trying to find a location. Especially now that we have to be conscientious of going somewhere where the majority of our membership isn't going to be arrested for being, Satanist and non-cis. So still working on that. SatanCon was going to be every year. So our inaugural one was really fantastic. It was in Scottsdale, Arizona, and we had 3 days of lots of presentations, a lot of speakers. We had Aaron Ra, who's a really well-known atheist activist, as well as just a general person of interest. Talked a lot about Satanic Temple's various campaigns, and then other members of the community had very niche topics they wanted to talk about, or do workshops on, and we had Impurity Ball that Friday night, which was held by the local congregation there, TSTAZ. That was a lot of fun. We had lots of burlesque, a lot of debauchery. We had Zandora LaVey doing some of her performances, which were incredible. Zandora is the personification of Satan magic.
It sounds positively amazing.
Yeah, no.
And Mike, we missed it.
I know, yeah, way to go. It was really great, and there was a lot of we had a lot of protesters out, hundreds and hundreds of protesters that were confined to outside of the space. We were at the Saguaro Hotel, and no protesters or anything were allowed on site, so they had to kind of be in the in the public area. Outside the hotel, so they didn't really bother us all that much because luckily walls are high and we couldn't see them or hear them really. So that was great. But they did actually manage to sneak in. We did have a few people that were not only escorted out, people who were intentionally trying to get into the con to cause problems, but we got left some gifts. I actually have a couple next to me. I keep them here at my desk because I treasure them so much. Lots of little pamphlets, a lot of little bells. We got these little bells, and they kept leaving these little $1 million. What is it? The $1 Million Gospel of John. So it looks like a pack. Okay. It looks like a pack of Benjamins. So it looks like a full pack of Benjamins, but you open it up, it's the Gospel of John. And yeah, they left these everywhere, and I picked up as many as I could find because I
That's so
just
fucking weird.
Would you
I
say
love.
that you're would you say that you're going to like decorate like a room of your wherever you're living with them like Jordan Peterson does with like communist propaganda?
They're
Get
they're
in the
trophies, Mike. They're trophies.
yeah, to get in the mind of your adversaries.
I shall
God, I don't wanna
surround
live
myself with the $1 million gospel and absorb
Yeah.
its energy.
Yeah, I don't want to live in their minds. They're miserable people.
I
Like
mean,
I'd
fair
rather
enough.
be happy.
Damn. Well, it's nice to know that it went great without any major incidents.
Yeah, no, I mean people tried, but the security was great. The hotel staff were amazing, and they got a lot of shit for it. And I don't think they'll ever want to work with us again. But I think it's just because we weren't the ones causing the problem. It was
Yeah.
everyone who decided that just because we paid them a substantial amount of money to be there, that they were endorsing the activities and beliefs of TST. So yeah, overall it was wonderful, and I'm looking forward to being a part of the group that makes this happen every year. So it was great.
I do think it's kind of ironic that a lot of the people who like protest or whatever, the people that would protest SatanCon are typically also correct me if I'm misspeaking, but also like capitalists. Like, wouldn't they like understand how a business is operated? You know what I mean?
Yeah, they don't understand nuance, so I don't begrudge them
Yeah,
for.
they're all for free enterprise until it's free enterprising the things that they disagree with.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So it's only they're only for it when it affects them, not when it's for other people. So unless they benefit, it's not good.
Hmm. Speaking of free enterprises, how did things go with Channel 5 and Andrew Callahan's outfit?
Well, I was only vaguely aware of who they were when we did all this. They had reached out to us and asked us if they could do some filming, and interview people, and we had a lot of stipulations for that because we wanted to consider the safety of the attendees and also be respectful of the fact that they were attendees and they were not spokespeople for TST.
And
And
also, they don't
you know,
owe
huh?
people they also don't owe people their time, so and so forth.
Yeah,
Like, you don't want to
yeah.
interrupt them while they're having a nice day.
Exactly. Yeah, they're there to attend the con. They're not there to, get some good, provide good B-roll
Yeah, I was
for.
gonna say, homies are there
Whoever.
to hang out at the debauchery club, not not provide like scathing commentary on the current social climate or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. So I mean, my understanding of Channel 5 generally speaking is that they've done a lot of work with like the People's Convoy, and they're good at generally kind of highlighting the most insane types of gatherings of groups and things like that. So I'm assuming my understanding of them is correct. Correct me if I'm wrong. And it was.
That's a pretty good summation. A sort of selective process of choosing places where the most sort of like I guess you would say like weird people would gather, and then finding the weirdest people possible within that group and highlighting them for the sake of comedy to a degree. They do some other stuff that is like I believe 80%, 90% of what they do.
Yeah. So I think they would also consider themselves gonzo journalism too, in a way. Um, I've heard that said. I don't know if that's true or not, but
I
anyway,
couldn't tell you.
like man on
Mainly
the
because I don't
street.
know the exact definition of gonzo journalism. I'm going to be completely honest.
Yeah, well, I mean, really, the only legitimate gonzo journalist was ever Hunter S.
John
Thompson.
Gonzo.
Thompson. So anyhow, yeah, so they were allowed to film and things like that with the understanding, and they didn't get any kind of special treatment either. We treated all of the media the same way. They all had the same rules. And I so yeah, and I know that their video, they just posted their video the whole compilation of
About
the
2 days
things
ago,
that
yeah.
you can find it on their YouTube. And having an understanding of what they normally do, you can kind of put that in your mind when seeing what it is they actually ended up compiling together and putting out there. The problem that people have when they come to TST events, things like that, is that we're all kind of like we're all weird, but we also are not like crazy, So they think they're gonna go to a gathering of Satanists and see the most crazy shit, and we don't provide that for them because that's just kind of not what we do. Uh, so it's so they got to get
I'm
their
sorry.
content somewhere, huh?
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. When we're talking about weird, we're just talking about like, oh, I have some interesting hobbies, And also, I believe, and once again, correct me if I'm wrong, a large percentage of TST members are also queer to some degree.
Oh yes, yeah, we're
Yeah,
actually more queer than not, really.
yeah.
Yeah, like the majority of our membership comprises of non-gender conforming, non-cis, and so it's vegans. We got a lot of vegans. So yeah, people that
They
people
expect a
that obviously
content mine.
what.
They expect a sort of content mine from which to extract content from your membership.
Right, and they don't usually get it because when people think of Satanism generally, they tend to think of what we see in movies, what we see in television, a very theatrical, a very really intense version of what like Christians think Satanism is, and that's how it's usually represented. And so people want to see that kind of thing when they're allowed access to our spaces, and they get really disappointed when that's not the case. So yeah, if you look at the actual YouTube video, you'll see mostly the protesters. They have a lot of protesters. And what we so yeah, and they're saying all sorts of crazy shit. I mean, it's you talk to any one of the people who has anything against our existence in general, they've got a lot of interesting ideas about who we are and what our rights aren't. And that's par for the course for us. That's not something new. We're used to this kind of behavior, and it's very entertaining for those who don't have to live it. They're not subjected to it. It's not used against us. We don't. They don't have to deal with the death threats. They don't have to deal with the people that actually do take their moral superiority very seriously to the point where they would cause harm. Like somebody showed up at my house intent on killing me a couple of years back because of after school Satan. So yeah, it's but yeah, and so there's a lot of interviews, a lot of content they got from the protesters. And there were a few that they got from people that I actually were probably attendees. I don't even know if any of them were TST members, to be frank. So some entertaining things here and there. But we were pretty clear with our attendees that one, they shouldn't feel pressured into talking to anybody if they didn't want to, for their own comfort or anything like that. And when it came to any type of media, we made sure people knew. If you're gonna speak for anything, you got to speak for yourself. Please don't speak for TST. Like, we're very careful about how the media tries to portray us, simply because for us it's kind of a life and death thing. If somebody says one thing, whether they're joking or not, people will take that seriously, and then they'll seriously react to it. So yeah, so generally speaking, that's the kind of content in that YouTube video. And I'm assuming some people's first glimpse, or I guess their first introduction to what TST is. I'm assuming they have a certain demographic of fans that are
Yes, a
don't know who we
certain
are or
demographic,
anything.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess the thing that I will say about it is what they showed really wasn't like the people that they were able to talk to. I mean, there are some highlights. They were able to talk to Evan Anderson, who's a director of Grey Faction. Evan
Shout outs to
is,
Grey Faction.
huh?
Shout outs to Grey Faction.
Shout out to Grey Faction. They are doing amazing work, and I am forever proud of everything that they do, and it's important work. And so they were able to talk to people like Evan, and I thought it was fantastic. His bits were great. They did some with Aaron Ra, or at least they showed Aaron Ra, speaking with somebody. But again, he only actually just came out as a Satanist when he was there. So he was just just kind of talking to them about what he likes to do, huh?
Yeah, just vibing. He was just hanging out.
Yeah, just hanging out, and there were some other people they interviewed that I actually have absolutely no idea who they were. So yeah, I mean, I think that from an entertainment standpoint, they got what they wanted. From the things that they were able to get certain people to say, do. I wouldn't say it's necessarily representative of us and shouldn't be seen as that. But I mean, it is kind of a glimpse into the kind of people that we deal with all the time. So, there's that. Would I invite them back? Absolutely not. They're filming. There were two people there who were filming for Andrew. I didn't get to meet Andrew at all, so I'm not
Mr.
speaking.
Callahan was there, correct?
Yeah. So Andrew Callahan. So I never ended up meeting him at all. So I'm not speaking about him personally. But yeah, the two people that were doing his camera work, and they were.
Once again, this is Chalice Blythe, not TST.
Yeah. I'm speaking as somebody who was part of making SatanCon run. I was the director of programming, and I also had other responsibilities. So my focus was to make sure that SatanCon was going smoothly. Everything was happening the way it should be. I was part of the team working. So from my perspective of working, not not just an attendee. Yeah, they were doing all sorts of shit that we told them not to do.
Such as?
Huh?
Such as?
Oh,
Anything in
just
particular they did?
I was just talking to because we had down in the area we had this the space of vendors, like vendor space.
Mm-hmm.
Marketplace is what we called
Yes.
it. And so there was a lot of milling around and stuff like that. But they in some of our presentations even they would come in and they would go to the front where the speaker was, and then they'd be like, give us a hail Satan, blah, blah, blah. So, they were interrupting our speakers in that way, and they were trying to get lively content.
Incitement, yeah. They're trying to incite some type of something. Obviously, we can never know truly what, like, they wanted out of it, besides, like, content is pretty easy guess. But they were going around sort of like,
being disruptive.
Yes, I was gonna say being disruptive and overstepping the bounds of their allowed presence. Would you say that's something that's pretty accurate?
Yeah, and then during Zandora's burlesque performance, the cameraman actually shoved her off the stage.
What?
She was in the middle of her performance.
Wait, what?
Seriously?
Yeah, he was trying to get the shot, as they say, and he like bumped into her, and she ended up falling off stage in the middle of her performance. And yeah, that was the part where I'm like, these people are never allowed.
Why were they
here
on
again.
stage? What?
They needed to get the shot.
Wait, so like who let them on? What?
They just decided they were going to do that. Yeah, it wasn't about what they were allowed to do on stage. It was the fact that they just decided they wanted to get the shot, and that's what they did.
So you would say that Mr. Callahan, you never met him, don't really know exactly what he was doing about, but you did notice some significant disruptive behavior from the camera people.
Yeah, from the camera people. Yeah, and again, it's just them. I'm not placing responsibility on Andrew Callahan because he was not there at the things that I was finding to. He wasn't the one contributing to the issues I was seeing. It was just the camera people.
Yeah,
but,
you are not the people you work with.
Yeah. So maybe they felt like they were doing, or maybe that's just they were like, oh well, we got a job to do and we're doing this. But yeah, they're certainly not invited back.
It reminds me a lot of those stories you hear of like producers on like reality TV shows where they like go in and they have like discussions with whoever's part of said TV show in order to like incite not necessarily like something harmful, but like a reaction? Would you say they were doing something similar to that, where they were like, "Oh, there's definitely some shit going down here," and then when they showed up, they did not see that like Hollywood, like like drinking baby's blood or where the fuck they expected to see, right? When they didn't see all that type of shit, they decided that like, oh, now we have to spice up this for our content or whatever.
Yeah, we need to get people to scream "Hail Satan" and all that stuff. Yeah, so I'm sure that was part of it. Because it's like we're trying to run this professional conference, and I know that in the back of their minds, they were hopefully anticipating there'd be some weird shit, and
Yep.
they caught a lot of weird shit. It just wasn't from our side. So yeah, I mean, if you guys want to, so I encourage people to see. It's on YouTube now,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
now
I'll
it's
link it.
I'm
I'll link it in
actually
the episode description. Yeah.
I'm actually watching it right now.
Oh.
yeah.
I will say, I believe that actually stems from like a lot of the places they usually go to. Like I know they went to like like a Utah rap festival or some shit, and people there were obviously like incredibly drunk, and like just wiling the fuck out. So like it's easy for them to like incite some shit over there, but this is not like a party necessarily. This is like just it's SatanCon. It's different. It's not the same event. So
Yeah.
they're trying to use similar tactics to sort of like extract content from the perceived content mine, the content factory, if you will. And when they didn't get it, it sort of like made their presence pretty fucking annoying, I assume.
Yeah, I was very fucking annoyed. But it is what it is. I'm used to dealing with more professional journalism, so maybe that
Mhm.
was on me. But because I've worked with the media for years, and we had other media there who were getting B-roll, interviewing with people that we just like, yeah, you can talk to this person and stuff, because again, it's like you know uh trying to just make sure that when it comes to TST in general, because the problem is that, and the reason, and I think to clarify why I keep saying I'm just speaking for myself and not the
Yep.
organization. At a certain point, anything you do or say, if you've ever been a spokesperson, or if you've ever been involved in that kind of role within TST, everyone will then see what you say as being representative of TST. You can't have your own personal opinions about shit. You can't it always has to tie to TST for some reason.
Yeah.
And so because we're very aware of that, that's why whenever we have media presence, or at any of our events or anything like that, we're very clear on who they can and cannot talk to, simply because it just, people use shit against us all the time, and people have, we're Satanists. We have a sense of humor about things. I joke about murdering babies all the time because it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I assume they're probably going to, whether or not you even joke about that, they're gonna
Yeah.
say that you do that regardless. So
Yeah, but
Right,
I
because
think I think what the core is like Chalice doesn't want, like, for example, them to call the fucking police because someone made like a little joke or something while in the SaneCon. They're like, yeah, we're about to go to Hall 300 for the human sacrifices, and then somebody calls the fucking police because technically, yes, they did say something like that, So it's like a real pain in the ass.
right. Humor, tone, those things don't translate well when people are intent on seeing you as the bad person. So,
Hmm.
um, you know, we don't have any, we don't want to control anything anyone says, but when it comes to media, it's a little bit more, we try to be very careful about that. But generally speaking, I mean, we had others there, and like even Fox News was there, and it's what's really fascinating is all my years of doing random things for TST, including being a spokesperson. I've never had an issue with Fox News. It's really bizarre, but it's never an issue with the affiliates. But if you're doing interviews or something, like if you're talking to that Tucker Carlson piece of shit,
Hmm.
that's going to be completely different. But if you're dealing with like their reporters, producers from affiliates, some of the most professional people. I actually had like a there was a big issue we had with one of the people we had given permission to come on site, and finding out after, before they got there, but finding out that this person was actually a part of like a super crazy right-wing part of media, and of course it's escaping my mind exactly who it is,
Oh,
but
like some fucking what is it? OAN, Mike? You know
Yeah,
all the fucking
OANN
psychos.
or like Newsmax or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it was someone like that. So I thought I was dealing with just like a Fox News affiliate, and I was like, oh, that's fine. Like, the producer was so professional, was really great to talk to and work with. But I wasn't made aware that the person they were sending was one of those people.
Yeah, they were
And
gonna come with
when I
fucking like holy water grenades and fucking like a bulletproof vest because they think they're gonna be assaulted by vampires or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, people that are purposely coming on and purposely wanting to incite a reaction so they can show the whole world how crazy Satanists are. And I mean, we were able to identify it before that person ever showed up. And I worked with a producer. I was like, hey, this would have been really good information to know, and I'm gonna actually deny you access because of this, this, and this. And we were actually able to work something out that was, he was totally understanding. We were able to work an alternative thing out, and it ended up being fine. The coverage I thought was pretty fun, but yeah, but when it comes to, I guess, the Gonzo journalists, you have
Yeah.
there's less of that, so
I
not
imagine it
not
was
necessarily the same
sorry.
level of professionalism.
But I was gonna say I imagine it was frustrating to a significant degree to have to work out something with like the Newsmax, OAN, whoever, like super like right wing person working it out, and then the person you like not person, not Andrew, but like the sort of journalist you thought were like, oh yeah, I can just like give them the basic rules and that they understand what like is and is not acceptable, then went on to do like the OAN Newsmax fucking incitement shit. I imagine that must have
Yeah,
been
it was
yeah.
that was kind of the experience. It was really interesting. But I mean, overall, I mean, it I don't have a problem with the video that was released. I mean, I think overall it's showing it's showing the kind of things that we deal with, and it's kind of showing the absolute batshittery that people who have these people that belong to a certain demographic and a certain ideology, how they view the world, and what they're willing to do to make sure that their views are known to the point of causing harm.
Mhm.
Because again, somebody did show up at my house. Like I got doxxed. I got doxxed a few years ago, and my information's out there, and
Mhm.
somebody, yep, showed up at my house. They had a 9mm. They were going to demonstrate to me exactly how they felt about me running an after-school Satan club. So
Christ.
there's
Well,
that. So there's
Satan,
a little bit
whatever.
of that in there. So
Yeah.
I guess people can see the shit we deal with, but I mean, if people are looking at this video trying to see what it's really like to be a Satanist or something, they're not going to get it out of there. I mean,
Yeah.
you're just gonna get some like random person, making actually a fairly decent Catholic joke, but other than that,
Yeah, it's more of event coverage really, but people sort
yeah.
of take it beyond what it actually is.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, um you've seen the episode we did with Chalice here and Dex Desjardins what was it 4 months ago or so.
Like
Hopefully you
that,
can
yeah.
see that if you want something more like akin to I'd say an introduction that would be more of a fair look. Because even like
Yeah.
you said in that episode, that the people who did that documentary on was it
Yeah.
Satanism in general or TST in specifically?
Yeah, so the documentary called Hell Satan was done by Penny Lane. Yeah, that's actually an interesting thing. I get asked all the time. It comes up in Q&As and stuff consistently. Like, if I want to learn more about TST just outside of like your website or something, where do I go?
The website's
Um,
pretty slick, by the way. I did want to say that it actually it has like really good user interface and like usability. I was really impressed. I was like, what the fuck? This is so nice.
It got revamped and is a lot better than what we used to be working with. So yeah, kudos to whoever's maintaining that and whoever did that, because that was really great. So usually what I tell them is, if you want to understand or at least kind of get a glimpse into why we do certain types of activism, the Hell Satan documentary is a good general overview, but it doesn't actually do anything to get you to understand, who we are as an organization, as a religious group, because we are Satanists first. Satanism is the thing, and it's our religious identity. It is the thing that is very sincerely, and the tenets are sincerely held by us, and everything we do is guided by our religious identity as Satanists. And activism is merely is merely a small part of how we practice our religious faith, meaning, when it comes to like Baphomet statues, religious reproductive rights, things like that, at the center, at the heart of it, is us doing these things as a religious people who are asserting, their rights to, free exercise of their religion. And so the documentary doesn't go over that. It highlights, it's I kind of like to say, the documentary is really just the rise and fall of Jex Blackmore, but it kind of goes into the Baphomet statue thing, a little bit of religious reproductive rights, but it doesn't actually speak to the heart of what TST is. But there's a religious studies professor, Joe Laycock. He wrote a book called Speak of the Devil, and it is a really
episode
good.
that we were filmed together.
You what?
That's actually what I titled the episode that we did together.
Yeah. So I mean, it's it's readily available, on all sorts of platforms. You can actually get it on audiobook now. So Speak of the Devil is a really good kind of it really starts at the beginning. It starts at the beginning of, where TST started, which isn't two guys that thought they had the answers to everything and started their own religion. It kind of started as something completely opposite of that, and it grew. It grew out of the original idea, just sparking such an intense feeling in people that really believed in what TST was doing, and it brought together, these Satanists who were like, yeah, we're Satanists, and we really love the tenets that have been put together, and we really like, the kind of the activist part, and then it just exploded. I mean, the community and where it's gone is really exploded from there. And so that's kind of covered in the book, and it actually ends like right before we kind of did a reorganization effort. So we don't do chapters anymore. We have congregations. We have a ministry program now. So yeah, the book kind of covers, from the beginning to right before we kind of just, we introduced ministry and religious study and things like that. So it's a good snapshot, a good basis of, where we came from. So both put together, I think they're pretty good, but kind of standalone. I would choose the book over the documentary, but the problem with the documentary isn't that Penny Lane didn't understand who we were, because she was amazing to work with. We worked with her for years for that movie, and she understands inherently what we are, who we are, and the fact that we are a religious group. We are Satanists, and that's the part is the most important to us. But once you get a studio involved, once the studio bought the rights and they were the ones who were going to basically fund and distribute the movie, they had
content involved at that point.
Yeah, it's content making. It's they had to go through all the footage
at the behest of capital, as they say.
Yeah. Well, they wanted a product that would sell, and to them, the interesting stuff wasn't the stuff that's at the core of who we are. The interesting stuff was, oh, look at these ghouls, going and making funny comments about Jason Raper, stuff like that. Like they wanted there was an angle that they wanted to push because that was what would sell. And so that's why I'm really disappointed in the movie, not because the director did anything wrong, but because the studio decided that it was going to make a product of us, made us into a product.
Well, I'm very happy that you at least have like some good representation that exists. While the Channel 5 video may not be representation of TST, at least it isn't putting you in a bad light, so to speak.
Well, yeah. I mean, not that I could see. I know, like generally, I've seen a lot of commentary in the community just saying, "Oh God, this is really cringe," and they don't even want to finish it. 'Cause they're like, "Oh, this fucking shit's cringe." But I watched the whole thing through. I didn't see anything that was like super. I don't know. I've just been doing this for so long that I'm kind of like, as long as I'm not having to deal with somebody who says I'm a member of TST and I want to unalive this person because of this, I kind of just don't care. You know,
As long as you're not having to install a new defense system on your front lawn or whatever the fuck.
yeah,
You're happy.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it's like, being a public persona, and this is for, I mean, even more so for our spokesperson, co-founder Lucian Greaves. I mean, he's dealing with some fucking group that declares itself, that they held a court session, their own little weird Zoom court session, and said that he was, that he was like found guilty of murder, and we only had a certain amount of time to get out of the country, and now he's got a $500,000 bounty on his head. I mean, just crazy shit.
Just like a
Yeah,
council of people, just like putting
yeah.
people through kangaroo. That's fucking awful.
Yeah, no, these people are insane. And obviously, Lucian being our national spokesperson and also, the co-founder, he gets a lot more, he deals with this stuff on a level that, I've not dealt with. Like where I had one person show up at my house, he's had several. They show up to headquarters, they send him the death threats and everything like that. And now apparently he's found guilty of treason, shit like that. And if you're fascinated with that whole drama, he documents all of it. Like if you just find him on Twitter, like Lucian Greaves,
We'll put the link in the description.
yeah, because he's got a Patreon that a lot of it is actually like for free. Like he actually makes it all viewable to the public, so you don't have to subscribe to see his content. But like he documents the whole thing. He actually showed up to their little Zoom tribunal and recorded it for everybody. Like
presenting the defendant.
No. He had to take. He actually had to take
Did he
take
have a
leave in the
bailiff bring him
room
in?
because it wasn't clear who was leading it. So
That's fucking hilarious.
yeah, it's just batshittery. So yeah, so when it comes to the Channel 5 thing, I mean it's cringe, but not cringe because not because of anything other than the fact that I understand, as being somebody who's dealt with the media for as long as I have, I understand at the end of the day they just need content. They want content, and they want the thing that gains traction, gains attention. And considering Channel 5's popularity based off of the kind of things that they highlight and the kind of batshittery they're able to find and show the world. I think that just kind of goes in line with the kind of things that they represented, the way they tried to represent us, but mostly the people that were standing outside and the hundreds of protesters we got at SatanCon. I mean it's entertaining.
What they wanted was the Lucian Greaves, kangaroo court. What they got was just a bunch of people having a nice time.
Yeah, pretty much. And we did. Like, SatanCon was great. Everyone, we made all the effort and then some to make sure that everybody was safe and that they were enjoying their time. We had vaccine requirements, we had mask requirement. There's a lot of things that we did, not only from a health standpoint to make sure everybody, was, safe in that regard, but also that just their safety in general. It's Scottsdale, Arizona. That place fucking sucks. And
No.
Well, you heard it
Um,
here, Scottsdale.
yeah,
And
yeah.
shout out to Scottsdale, y'all suck ass.
Yeah, you'll suck ass. You know, it being in Scottsdale, Arizona isn't the safest place to be a Satanist in general. So that was you know, something that we kind of considered. But you know, the hotel was amazing. The security we had was amazing. Everyone was safe. Everyone had a good time. And you know, the people that were coming in, that were trying to get in, trying to thwart our good time, or you know, do whatever they wanted to do, they weren't allowed in. None of them did. And you know, because it's funny how the people who wanted to sabotage our event are the same ones that, you know, really the barrier for them to get in was that they didn't have a vaccine card, or they, you know,
That
they
is
didn't
kind
want
of
to get
funny, yeah.
vaccinated. So
I
that
will
was
say,
a lot of the deterrent. Yeah.
I will say,
Or wear a
thank
mask.
you. Yeah, I'll say we're about at time. I'm sorry.
Oh no,
You're
you're
spitting, but
fine.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. We're about at time. But I will say thank you very much for joining us today, Chalice. I'll make sure I get all requisite links from you very soon. But is there anything you'd like to say before we close out, real quick?
Can't think of anything off the top of my head, other than thanks for having this chat. Thank you for kind of giving me the ability to rage about these things that are very, very important to me. And we'll see what the year brings. It'll be really interesting to see what even a month from now we'll be dealing with. And yeah, look forward to. I hope to see you all at SatanCon 2023.
Yes.
We'll be there. I will say, maybe we can even share our NSA docs and have a little party.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'm actually in the process of trying to see if I can get mine. So, if I do get mine and you get yours, like let's definitely
Break
take a look
open
at.
dossiers, yeah. Do
Yeah,
a
and maybe
PowerPoint
people,
presentation, but on each other.
yeah, and then maybe people can vote to see who had the more interesting year.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Shalice, I like your thinking. In
Yep.
any case, we have some things left to do today, Shalice. So I am sorry we're gonna have to say goodbye. But
Yep.
for now, it has been a wonderful day. Everyone, have a great Mother's Day. When this is being recorded, I'm hoping it'll be up today. But otherwise, thank your mothers, thank your everybody's, whatever. Bye bye.
Hail Satan.
Bye.